What's up, guys? Marcellus Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to educate you on health and fitness and social well-being. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about the proper programming when you're on a cut, as well as program hopping in general.
I am the greatest.
Someone with power! Someone with power! Someone with dash! Someone with power!
Alright, guys, so the reason I want to address this topic is, well, there's lots of reasons, but the main reason is because every time the new year rolls around, everybody wants to go on a cut. And they have different questions about, their diet, calories in versus calories out, special foods, all that kind of stuff. But one thing that there seems to be a huge misconception about, among many others, is that you have to train differently when you're on a cut. Meaning, if somebody's been on a certain program, like while they were bulking, where they're just focusing on getting stronger, progressively overloading, everything like that, they suddenly feel like now they're going on a cut, they need to change that programming, which isn't exactly the case, guys. Simply put, if anything, guys, you need to keep your focus on still getting stronger. So here's the thing. When you're on a cut, your goal should be to burn fat while holding on to as much muscle mass as possible. And of course we do that through making sure our cut is very slow, trying to lose, a pound or more than 2 pounds a week, as well as making sure that our protein intake's a little bit higher, things like that. But as far as training, you want to make sure you're still doing your best to maintain strength and even trying to get stronger. That's a common misconception, guys. A lot of people think you can't get stronger while you're on a cut. You can't build muscle while you're on a cut unless, you're either extremely overweight, obese, or you're in your beginner stages, in which case you're doing more of a body recomposition, not so much cutting. But with a normal cut, for someone that's been lifting for a while already, you can't build muscle while you're on a cut because you have to be in a caloric surplus to build new muscle tissue, but you can get stronger. It's a little bit harder. Well, really, it's a lot harder just because you don't have as much energy that you do when you're in a caloric surplus, and your body may feel a little bit more worn out. But keep in mind, strength predominantly stems from our central nervous system. So you can still get stronger while you're on a deficit, and you want to do that. You want to, as best as you can, still seek to progressively overload. And the reason for that, guys, is so that you're giving your body more reason to hold on to that muscle mass. Because remember, guys, there's a direct correlation, in natural lifters anyway, between strength and muscle hypertrophy. A bigger muscle is a stronger muscle is generally a bigger muscle. And the reason that we get stronger is because our muscles get bigger. So because we're using them, we're giving our muscles a reason to grow. So you want to give your muscles a reason to stay the size that they are. And by consistently trying to stay stronger and get stronger, you're providing your muscles and your body as a whole with that reason. So you really don't necessarily need to change your programming in the sense of don't feel like suddenly your reps and your sets and your weight all has to change drastically. It doesn't at all. Like, there's lots of different programs out there, for different goals and stuff like that. And some programs may be set up to where the workload just isn't as intense because you are on a cut and you don't have as much energy. But regardless of what type of program you are on, guys, you still want to keep progressive overload as your key factor, and you want to be consistent with trying to get stronger. So don't feel like you have to change your programming. Like, if your program you were on was working while you were bulking and you enjoyed it, you can stick with that program even while you're cutting. What's going to determine your cutting is going to be your diet, your caloric intake, not what program you're on necessarily. Because once again, there's not special exercises for cutting and toning. All exercises build your muscle up either through metabolic fatigue or mechanical tension, putting weight on the bar. So that's that. Now, I want to address the issue of program hopping in general, because I have a lot of people who will come and tell me, hey, I was on this program for, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks. I'm not sure if I got results from it. And I want to try this program. I want to go to this program. Or can I try this program? This program. It's like, guys, keep in mind, program hopping isn't something that a lot of big time, natural athletes, they don't do an excessive amount of program hopping when it comes to their weight training. The reason you see a lot of that in more of the drug use community, the steroids and everything like that, is because they can do whatever they want, guys. Like I said, there's been several tests and studies showing that they can literally sit on their butts, and if you're on the right type of stack, you will still build muscle mass. So they can switch programs just because they feel bored, because they want to introduce new movements, things like that. But you guys have to keep in mind, if the best way, or really the only way for us to get stronger and build muscles as naturals, is to progressively overload. How can I progressively overload if I'm consistently changing programs? Let's say one program has bench and squat in it, and then I jump to another program that doesn't have it. So I was only benching and squatting for 5 weeks. well, how strong did I really get in those 5 weeks on those movements? I can't get stronger on a movement or progressively overload if I'm not being consistent with that movement. It just doesn't work. So it's very, very important that if you do change programs, you need to have a good valid reason for why you're doing so. Like if you get to a point where a program just like you tested it out and it's just not working for you in the sense of it's too, maybe you're not used to high volume and this is a really high volume program, or you're not used to a certain amount of intensity as far as like you're doing like heavy triples every other day. You're not used to that. Then that's different. I can understand trying to find a program that works for you based upon your goals. But the thing is, once you do find a program or have a program created for you, you want to do your best to stick with it. It's okay to modify certain exercises. Like if you want to modify certain accessory movements, like maybe you don't want to do tricep press downs anymore, so you do tricep overhead extensions or skull crushes or something of that nature. I get kind of being a little bit more loose with your accessory movements, but whatever program you're on, guys, you want to try to stay consistent with your big, heavy compound movements for the mere fact that you can't progressively overload if you keep constantly switching exercises in and out like that. It's just not going to work. It's not going to be as efficient. And that's pretty much it, guys. This was a pretty quick, simple, straightforward video, but I feel like it was needed because I'm getting questions like this literally like daily, like multiple questions along this line daily about different programs with cutting and jumping from program to program. Guys, you don't want to do that, especially as a beginner, because like I get it, like sometimes people want to switch programs or get on a program that they feel is going to bring up their weak points. But guys, as a beginner, in the most respectful sense, you have to understand everything on you is weak. You don't necessarily have weak points yet because you haven't built up a really good foundation. Like, so it's kind of like, yeah, you have weak points, but all of you is weak. You need to build up a good foundation to really see what area you're strong in and what areas that may need a little bit more work. And then even for advanced lifters or intermediate lifters, it's understanding that even when you're programming, your focus still needs to be on those main compound movements and then using accessory movements to bring up those weak points. Like, but you, or maybe, you prioritize those weak points. Like before you get into like your workout, the way that you usually do, like for example, let's say you want to bring up your upper chest. So instead of starting with flat bench, you start with incline dumbbell press. That makes sense. But you should never get so caught up in your weak points to where you're just trying to jump from program to programs that just focus on that. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I had to say in this video. I hope it was informative. I hope this helped some of you out. I know it helped some of you out because like y'all were looking forward to this video because I told you I was going to do it eventually. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment down below letting me know so. Or if you hated it, still leave a comment. I'm open to any and all feedback. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch y'all later.
I am the greatest.
Someone look color! Someone look color!